All right, Nintendo girl, let's go.
If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 126 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all the land, Mr. Sean Capri.
Hi, Bobby. It's me, Sean Capri. Hi, how are you? It's nice to see Bobby.
Yes,
Bobby.
Sean.
It's so nice of you to take a break from your illustrious streaming career that is taking off
Yeah.
like a rocket ship.
This
like a
show
SpaceX rocket
interrupted.
ship.
This show interrupted it completely tonight.
It's a total mistake. You should have kept going.
And I
man.
should just been like, Sean, we'll do that show next week. Yeah,
Everybody would have understood.
yeah. Everybody been like, you know what? Screw it. If we ran Nintendo,
I get it.
We're hanging out. We're all playing Splatoon 2, having a good time. You know, it's funny because you streamed, so it's hard sometimes where like you have a good stream going, you have solid numbers,
You're like, bye.
everybody's talking,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's joining the game, you're all playing, you're having a great time, and then you're just like, all right, guys, I gotta go.
You know
It's
what
like,
though, man? It's the Jerry Seinfeld model, man. You got to go up on. You got to go out on top.
this is true.
You gotta.
This is
You
true.
can't. You don't want to be streaming for so long that the only person left is Deuterino, and he's like, I'm still there, man, and he will be there. He will be there
He'll
until your
stay.
dying breath,
He,
man.
he is a beast. I love that guy. I love
He
that
will be
guy.
there. That's a little shout out I snuck in there before you even
Mhm.
get to it, dude. Dude, what an incredible week! You and Joe after work and the Nintendo. You guys are absolutely killing it
Thank
on
you.
Twitch this week. I am
Thank you.
like. I've taken a bit of a step back,
Hmm.
and I'm very appreciative of people for reaching out and finding out that yes, I'm okay. I'm not in a dark place. I'm just a
No,
little tired.
yeah.
Is everything's fine. But in this time, I've been able to just like sit back and be a fan, like a genuine fan, like I was. Like, it started this whole thing of like watching people, like real famous people
Yeah.
do their thing.
Real
Now I don't
famous
watch any of those real famous people, and I watch you guys,
Yeah.
and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Watch like semi-famous people.
Dude, it's been a blast for me. Just it's weird because well, the weird thing is this. So I was watching Joe after work go to TwitchCon, and I kind of got like this bug because I
Yeah.
was starting to before I left back in February. I was starting to stream on Twitch more. But I started streaming on Twitch then because of issues with YouTube and all this stuff. Well, I come back and I'm streaming the shows on YouTube and I'm having issues again. And I'm
Yep.
like, you know what? I'm done. I'm getting out of here and I'm done for good. So all my live shows are now over on Twitch because just YouTube's having problems, technical issues. And it's just like, this is nonsense. I'm not playing these games no more. Like, it's over. So I go over there and I'm just like, this is just a blast. This is so much fun, dude. And I'm like, just enjoy. I'm like buying games now. I'm like, and I had said
Playing
this.
them?
Yeah,
You were always buying games. You
I
just
was
weren't
always
playing
buying it. I'm actually playing them now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
And
nice.
that's the thing. Like I had said in a video, or not in a tweet I put out earlier this week. I was like, it just feels good to actually be playing games again and like playing them. I hadn't been
That's the whole
playing
point
in
of
a
all
while.
this.
Yeah,
That's why we get into this. We love games.
yeah, and now it's like I'm back to playing games again. It's like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah,
So
it's nice.
I got a review code
Ooh.
today, but apparently it's not working because I didn't know this was a thing. That even though you get a review code, right? Nintendo has to activate the page for the game before the review code becomes accessible.
What?
Doesn't make any sense to me. So stupid.
Nintendo.
Stupid. Because here's a girl who is a developer. Made a game all by herself. And it's called Toast Time Smash Up. It's mostly a local multiplayer versus game. But it's got some solo campaign where you play some missions by yourself and stuff. Looks kind of cool. Like it looks a lot. It's going to be interesting and some fun. So I can't wait to play it. And her name is Ashley. Let me mess this up. Ashley Gwinnell.
Nailed it.
And she works for Studio Force of Habit. So if you can, please go check them out. Go check out everything they're doing. I'll have some information up later this week. Once I get the game, I'm going to stream it a couple of nights just to show it off and such. And then maybe do a live review of it at that point or at some point. But she reached out to me, introduced herself, gave me the codes, all that stuff. So
that's so weird. How did they get the codes and if you can't redeem them? That's so strange to me.
Why are you giving out codes if people can't redeem them? So crazy. Sometimes Nintendo just does some so...
If we ran Nintendo, you know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. I discussed it a couple weeks ago on a Nintendo Guru Daily, probably about a month ago, and I felt like it was an issue. And people kind of gave me flack, like, oh, Nintendo can do whatever they want to do. Okay, whatever, guys. You have at it.
We're back there now.
Meanwhile, indie developers are suffering because little stupid things like this. Yep. Like, why are you giving a code out if they give it out to... Because I reached out to her and I was like, it makes her look stupid. And this is why. Because I reach out to her and go, oh, she double-dipped the code. She gave it to me and somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I went back to her and was like, hey, man, I appreciate you thinking about me. The code doesn't work. I'm pretty sure you gave out all your codes by now. So, how many of those emails does she have to answer tonight? Here she is excited to be giving out codes to YouTubers or whoever to try to get people to review her game. And now she looks like she's incompetent because Nintendo doesn't put this out on time.
Now, everybody knows, and everybody who she's reaching out to knows Nintendo quite well. It's Nintendo is incompetent ones.
But still, I'm sure for her, it's slightly annoying, slightly embarrassing. It just doesn't make sense. I know for a fact that, people, indie developers have had hard times getting their trailers up on their page. Like, their page will go live in the eShop, and they'll struggle to get the trailer up. There'll be typos in the
Nintendo's got to be careful about this stuff, man, because the indie scene will jump. They will go to the next system that supports them, just like they did from PlayStation 2 Nintendo.
Yeah.
If somebody else figures this out, I'm telling you, dude.
No joke. And
if there's enough of these people who are having kind of a crappy time, or if there's enough, the giant successes are going to become fewer and farther between as Nintendo themselves starts to fill out the catalog and people start playing Smash all the time and Pokemon all the time and Animal Crossing all the time.
You know what's going to happen? Let's be honest. This is what's going to happen.
Xbox.
Yeah, you're going to get a situation where a couple of these developers are going to go, hey man, there's nobody over at Xbox, and even if there's 15 million people playing at Xbox, if we can get 1% of that buying our games, it's
just crazy. The Xbox, the failure on the Xbox side is ridiculous.
Why they wouldn't go after indie developers blows me away.
Well, they do. They have a whole ID at Xbox. The whole thing Luke and I talk about on the Xbox Drive all the time. But and the Xbox is a great system for this because they don't have a lot of their own games. So the indies are the ones that are supposed to fill in the gaps. So Microsoft's got a lot of gaps. That should be a fit.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Oh God, it's so it's all just wherever camp you are on, you just do the face palm.
Yeah.
No matter what.
But it bothers me because you and I have a deep rooted history with
each other. Very deep rooted.
With indie love on this show.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing of it is when I see developers struggling a little bit, it breaks my heart, man, because I want to see these guys and girls do phenomenal things.
Well, they've done the hard part already, you know what I mean? They've made the game, and it's just that should be the hard part, and then you also have to be a marketer and everything you got to wear so many different hats. Man. Come on, man. We got to have a new segment in if we're
Come on, man. We can't. That'd be stealing from
ESPN.
I know.
It's so good. It's so good.
Sean, let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout-outs.
Come on, man.
Good Lord.
You can't start a segment and take a drink.
My throat got a little dry, man. I needed to get some liquid in it, man.
Okay, we're gonna kick this segment off with a hang on.
Yeah, I said what I had to say, and then I realized
that was outrageous. I shouldn't have sipped it like that because it was just all bubbles.
Well, there you go. God punished you for
instant karma. I apologize
for mocking.
That was outrageous for people. I'm sorry.
So So I want to start it off. I want to send a shout out
Ooh.
to the Quest for Pixel Boys.
Yeah, man.
Joel Brooks, Tony Baker, Sheldon Benedict. I was gonna say Benjamin, just to be old school, but I was like,
nice one. Holy
that's
crap.
a deep cut for those that don't know.
Deep cut, holy cow.
So they so last week, right? They show up in my stream. They become subs to my stream. Then tonight Joel Brooks shows up. He becomes a sub. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, these guys are awesome, man.
I know, man.
But they've always been super supportive of what we do.
I know, I don't get it.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't understand it at all. But whatever, it's fine. Sheldon, Tony from the get, same with Joel. All three of them have been super supportive of me.
Mike BC.
Yeah. Everything that we do, all that stuff. Like, but if you're listening to me now, do yourself a favor. Go over, hit them up on Twitter, follow them, go subscribe to their podcast. They just started season 2, where I think they added Joel in to the mix. So now it's the three of them doing the podcast now.
Sweet.
Seriously, go check them out. Go check out what they're doing. Praise them. The one thing I will say, if you remember when they came out the gates, you and I, at the time, had been doing stuff for like a year, right? And these guys come out the gates, and they're like dual streaming together. I know. And all this stuff. I mean, you were like,
they're restreaming everything.
I mean, you were like
Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, you were like, how the hell are they doing all this stuff? We should know how to do this, and we don't know how to do nothing.
It's so much tech.
Yeah, and they got they're like crushing it, man. So thank you guys for everything, and
you got the sweet name.
Yeah. That is a good name. That is a good
artwork
name.
by Adam Leonard right out the gates as well.
Yeah.
Cool stuff, man.
You have any shout outs there, Sean?
I want to shout out the Backlog Busters, Grouchy Surge, Trash Turkey hit episode 10. Mm-hmm. So Bobby, this is something that you and I connect on. People pay attention to episode 10 for a number of reasons. 2 reasons actually specifically, and it has to do with both of us. Mm-hmm. You have been maybe over-quoted, probably quoted to death about if you reach episode 10, then you go on to do whatever for a year. That means you're going to be doing it forever, which I never really understood. But people repeat this. I don't think you even realize how many people say the Bobby Paul's episode 10 thing, right? It's this thing.
Get out of here, really?
It's this thing. I'm not joking. This is a thing. Like, this is like the stat that you would have said probably 2 years ago.
Okay, so here's the stat. We're just gonna throw it out there. This is the stat that I've always represented. There is a statistic that usually if a show hits 10 episodes, they don't last forever, but they go on for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Like they'll hit years, 2 years, 3 years. Just getting in that rhythm of 10 episodes is the number to take. I don't know why, but if you go through iTunes, every failed podcast has like 3 or 4 episodes, and that's it. And it's done. So
okay, so it's that back half of that explanation that I always forget about that actually does make a whole lot of sense. So of the podcasts that fail, the vast majority don't even get to number 10.
Yes.
Because like podcasts come to an end all the time.
Yes.
But I see what you're saying. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to say is my favorite thing of podcasting with you is like we know each other so well that all I got to do is just dangle a little something in front of you and you're just like, no, and you're just trying to just like shoo it away. You're just like shooing. You're like, just give me that thing. Okay, I'll tell you about the stat number 10 episodes. Yes, eat it, Bobby.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
It's so good. Okay, so the second thing about episode 10 is something that I have said. Where I have encouraged people who are just starting with their podcast. They're like, I just made an episode. Listen to it and tell me what you think. And I'm like, maybe to your point that getting past 10 means that you're kind of in it for the long haul. I've kind of said, I will absolutely give you feedback, but get to 10 episodes first. Yeah. And then I'll listen in and then I'll tell you what you think or tell you what I think. And for a number of reasons, I think in the early days, you're going to be learning something along the way. You're going to learn on your own. I think in the early days, I may set you off on it in a direction that you have no interest in. Yeah. And you don't know any better. So I think there's a number of reasons why.
Well, I've also said that like you find your rhythm. By 10 episodes, you should know what the show is. You should have all your formatting laid out. You should be in a good place that's when you really start doing your best work.
And I want to say this too, because there are a lot of people who are starting up stuff all the time. There may be somebody here's listening right now is thinking about doing a thing. Technical advice, Bobby and I are here, 1,000%.
Yeah.
In terms of like changes to your format or anything like that, figure it out, man. Like you will figure out and feel what's right. You're in probably the most fragile state in those early days. So with all that said, without out of the way, as my boy Badbit would say, I was on their 10th episode. I was a guest.
Oh, that's why. That's why it becomes something. You are such.
But this is all of those for everything I've said so far. That's why they invited me on number 10.
Okay.
So those are the reasons I was there.
Okay.
We played an amazing game, an amazing game almost, called Johnny versus Barbara, which they asked me. They prompted me with questions, and I had to guess, was that a Johnny Casino question because now he's famous with Radio is Lame, or was it a Barbara Walters question?
Oh my God.
It was so good, dude. It was so much fun. I had such a blast. The episode went up live this week, so I just wanted to thank Grouchy Surge and Trash Turkey, Backlog Busters. It's on iTunes and everywhere else, I think. Yeah. So just go download at least episode 10. And it's a monthly show, so it's not like, you got to catch up with 70 hours of content a week like the Guru over here.
Yeah, I'm a madman when it comes to that stuff. I have to I'll have to check it out. I'll check it out and
it was fun.
And see what it is.
And they've been supporting us for a long time.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Like Grouchy has been there from the get. You know what I mean? Like he's long time.
Grouchy's on this show. Believe it or you know what I mean?
We don't really talk about that.
I don't know if the feed goes all the way back.
That feed stops there. We don't talk. We don't. That's before Sean took this thing in a bad place.
Hey man, it was a good place. That was a fun place.
Sean took it to a wrong turn. Like he just, he meant well. He meant well. It just,
Pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet. You know what, man? Hey, have you had Justin Masson on this show since you got back? Nuh-uh. I
had him on Nintendo Talk Live.
So what? Anybody can get on Nintendo Talk Live.
Not anybody.
Almost every week is somebody new.
Well, that's still,
That's what I was trying to do too, though. I miss you, Justin.
Oh Lord!
Come back with your blueprints.
Listen,
and your
when Justin comes here, he tries to talk me into kicking you off the show. So you got to be careful.
It's gonna work, man.
He's always trying to. Even when I'm on Nintendo Talk Live, he's always taking shots at you and like telling me like that, dude. I gotta say it. If you have
Canadian passive aggressive, man, that's what it's about.
If you haven't heard the episode, I don't know if it's up anymore or not. It's got to be up. It's probably in the old feed though. I have to go back and start adding that stuff into a separate feed. But I'm thinking like in a separate feed, and then this way we could go back to season 1 and over there, or at least if it be at NintendoGuru.com. But the funny thing is that episode. Well, no, they can listen to like episode 99 or whatever. When you did the greatest hits.
Oh, I know. That was
my
so
God,
funny.
dude.
Everybody else gets a clip that's like 45 seconds tops.
Yeah. And
then I get to like Masson's and it's just like, here's 4.5 minutes.
You can't stop that though. That just is this train wreck of like, we're going down this path and like it can't stop. And I'm explaining to people like about Justin introducing me to start the whole Nintendo Guru thing and the new podcast. Because, okay, let's just go down it. So he basically introduced me on Nintendo Dads of like, hey, Bobby's going to be starting this new podcast. At the time, I didn't have a new podcast I was going to start. But me and Sean on the backside were kind of discussing about trying to get something to work together. And then I was like, hey, man, let's do this show if we were at Nintendo. So I go to Justin. I'm like, hey, I got this new show, this new podcast. Here, Justin was kind of like leading me in to be like, me and him were going to do a show. Mm-hmm. And I actually was like, and the greatest thing was like, you basically go like, oh my God, this is like a promposal gone wrong.
He got friend zoned so hard.
Oh,
dude.
He got crushed. And it's like, so, but we didn't, I didn't know at that point, like, I'm sitting there, all of a sudden it hits like, oh my God, like, you were trying to get me to go? Like, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, it was so funny, dude. So funny. But to hear the defeat in his voice during that episode is priceless. And he's like, yeah, Sean,
you know what, though? It all worked out for the best. He moved across the country or across the world. He just had to get on a boat and just like Wind Wakered over to Ireland.
Yeah,
So it's fine.
Pretty much.
Look how bad it would have gone.
Yeah.
It would have been catastrophic.
Yeah, exactly.
Like to have somebody leave the show would have been catastrophic.
Yeah.
You hearing me, Bobby?
I get you.
I don't think you're picking up what I'm saying at all.
back.
I think somebody else. Yeah, for one of the hosts to leave the show would have been horrible. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, shut up, man. Listen, I came back. That's all that matters. Anyway, let's jump into our first topic here.
Oh, Todd Oxford, settle down.
Shut your face. Okay, so if we ran Nintendo, where do we draw? This is the wording of this question, and I'm just going to come out and just do it as I am. But like, if we ran Nintendo, where do we draw the line with correcting our past on non-politically correct things or offensive things in our games? So this week, it came out that because of a stream of Smash Ultimate in Japan, where Mr. Game & Watch kind of turns into an Indian in the game, people went to Nintendo and was like, hey, this is offensive. It should be pulled out. And Nintendo actually agreed and pulled or are changing the artwork of Mr. Game & Watch out of the game in terms of like when he turns into the Indian with the flame. And that was basically based off a Game & Watch game in 1982 where it was cowboys trying to stop Indians from throwing fire at them.
Native Americans.
Okay. Stop.
I'm just playing a part here, Bobby. I'm just playing a part.
So the question to me is, and a lot of it comes from, I guess, I just am out of touch with reality, that I'm not really sure where that falls into offensiveness. Mm-hmm. Maybe because of the fact of, like, the Indians are considered the bad guys in that game. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys are considered the good guy in that game. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But that being said, it makes me wonder at what point does Nintendo go, okay, we're going to rewrite history on everything.
Yeah.
You know, because you run that risk of, like, how long before Italians start going like, hey man, we're not all a bunch of plumbers and all this nonsense, like, you know, and where do you run that risk of this stuff happening? And just in Odyssey last year, like, people were trying to get the Mexican, the sombrero,
yep.
You know, the Day of the Dead Mario out of the game.
Yep.
Because they didn't like that. And it was like, and think about it, if they pull that out, they eliminate a whole world that was based off of that. So it's one of these situations of, where do you go, okay, it's okay to do this, and where do you go, we're not going to do it. You know, it's a tricky thing, and it's not just them. It's just not Nintendo, you know, but obviously this show is if we ran Nintendo, so my question is pretty straightforward of where do we draw the line? Where do we, like, what's okay, what's not okay? What do you think?
I think the thing, if we ran Nintendo, we would be Japanese. We would be living in Japan, where we wouldn't be an American and Canadian. We wouldn't be in the center of political correctness bill.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that, okay, so I'm gonna preface with it. I'm gonna preference with this, Bobby. This topic is a tricky one because I think everybody has their thresholds on what they find offensive. I'm not going to even try to explore what I think should or shouldn't be offensive to this person or that person.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say that right out of the gate. So with that said, I think that there's something special about being Japanese, Japanese company, in that you kind of get away with being like, we're just goofy and Japanese, so let's just have, like, I was watching Joe After Work stream earlier this week, and he was playing World of Final Fantasy Maxima, I think, and it was just like the weirdest sounds, like the weirdest, like, grunts and like and voice acting and short skirts and weird, like, things that are not necessarily even like having anything to do with political correctness, but like over sexualized or like fan services, as people will say. But it's like, throw your hands up because it's Japanese, so, like, who cares? And I think that there's a bit of a pass there that if I ran Nintendo, and I'll pitch it to you this way, like, enjoy that as long as you possibly can, because I think that there is an audience that doesn't want to even like, they want to just be able to watch, play, or enjoy or consume something and not even worry, not have to like think, am I being triggered? Is this a thing? No matter what it is. So you can't, in order to do that, you can't pick and choose like, this one's no good. And I know like I'm starting to kind of like skim across the this is offensive versus this is not offensive, and I it's tricky because there is going to be a thing that at some point is just like, that's too far. Like, can you put Nazis in a game? Like, is that too far?
I mean, that started that. I mean, they were going after Wolfenstein at one point, and Bethesda's like, guys, we hate Nazis. In the game, we kill Nazis.
That's a good point.
Like, what are you talking about here? You know, just this week, a YouTuber got banned because in Red Dead, there's a section where feminists are trying to recruit you, and he does a video where he punches a feminist in the face.
Yeah.
And YouTube banned him. Like, they deleted his whole channel. And it's like, we're in this weird area that, like, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. It's like everything to me.
Let's remember that we live in a world with the Washington Redskins. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the one they're trying to take away too. I mean,
know.
But I mean, to me and you, that word isn't offensive. But apparently, because it was used as a derogatory term, whenever, you know, back at a certain time, that's where it's Indians, Native Americans are trying to change that term.
Okay, so I think, because I definitely don't want to get into like what I think should or shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the rewriting of history, and that could actually be an example. If we fast forward in the future and the Washington Redskins actually have to change their name, I believe that's actually in motion.
I think they're trying to make it in motion.
Yeah. What does the NFL do in that case, or what would Nintendo do in that case in terms of like, do you, like, when you're talking about a certain point in time, do you go, those were the Redskins, or those were the Cowboys and Indians, or do you go, well, that thing that we had in our past is like not couth anymore, so we better like adjust it.
Well, okay,
is that a thing?
Here's a prime example. This is where I'm going with this. So what happens if the virtual console becomes a thing?
Right.
And Mike Tyson's Punch-Out goes.
Right.
That game is full on stereotypical, like quasi-racist across the board. They take shots at every race across the board with it. So it's one of these things of like, because at first my thought was, well, you don't mess with the past because the past is the past and it is what it is. Like, you learn from it and you move forward.
Yeah.
And anything new, you change. Like, you just don't do it. You know, you make a conscious effort to go, hey, man. But then it comes into one of these things of like, well, it's art. So how do you dictate what is okay with art and what's not okay with art? Mm-hmm. You know, and so I feel like at first I was thinking to myself like, well, it's simple. Anything moving forward, if it's going to be viewed as highly offensive, because everybody's going to get offended. Doesn't matter. I don't care. We live in this hyperbolic chamber anymore where people just get offended over anything.
Yeah.
So you got to look at it and go, what's the risk reward factor? It's going to become this thing where they have bean counters now, where they're just like, okay, it's similar to like car dealers or car makers.
Well, I think about it like Duke Nukem. I think you're getting to the point there of like, what does the market dictate in terms of like what is the demand? So Duke Nukem, does anybody like want Duke Nukem anymore? Like, it's not necessary that he's like offensive. It's just like it doesn't really like connect anymore.
Yeah.
Or Dead or Alive fighting games. Does anybody want like boob physics anymore? I wouldn't say that nobody wants them. You know what I mean? But I guess not enough people. So it's like, but that is kind of like, it's over sexualized, it's offensive in that nature. So I guess if there's enough like people who want like racist content out there, continue to do it, which is, I don't know, people are kind of like taking that out of this conversation. That's definitely not what I meant. But I suppose the argument could be made there as well. I I guess the my biggest thing is I'm scared as an old man, and I'm watching the change, and just seeing like, just be like one by one things are not going to be allowed, and then we'll be like, what are we even going to talk about anymore?
Well, the thing that worries me is, okay, I mean, look, it's not anybody's secret. I got a coaster here of Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It's probably my favorite video game of all time.
Mike Tyson is a tricky one. Holy crap, dude!
But I'm not even talking Tyson. I'm just talking the Punch Out franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at that game, and it's like, how long before? Because this is how I feel. This is how I feel it starts. You get someone that wants to kind of troll in a Facebook group. And they put something out there, and they're like, "Oh, why? Look at this! How does this get away? This is offensive." And then there are people that want to take up arms, and then they start this cause, and then boom. So I feel like the problem is that Punch Out goes to Virtual Console. You get a bunch of people going like, "How did this even?" Okay, like here's Soda Popinski, who's a drunken Russian, and how like Don Flamenco, who's a quasi feminine Italian guy, and it's like, where all of a sudden do we draw the line? And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, now here's Nintendo going like, well, we're gonna have to pull Punch Out because
I know.
Yeah,
so are we only allowed to talk about the things that like we're connected to? Like we both have Italian heritage in our backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know about you, man. I used to watch like the Godfather movies and things like that, or even Super Mario, and it'd just be like, this is so much fun. I wasn't worried like, what are they twisting my culture around? So that's just me. That's just oh, this is so this is so hard.
So the
biggest
thing, being Italian, me Italian American, you Italian Canadian, whatever. It's
what do you mean? Yes.
Like I look at like The Sopranos, right? So I remember when The Sopranos were a thing, and there was Italian groups that were trying to shut it down because they were like, "This is offensive. Everybody thinks Italians are mobsters." And
they have a right to be offended. I'm not trying to say they shouldn't.
No. But the thing of it is like you have a right to be upset about it.
Yeah.
But to squash it for everybody, just don't watch it. Don't play. That was my feeling back then.
Whoa. This is a radical idea you're proposing here, Bobby.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
just change the channel. Just
don't turn the channel. Like, don't watch it. And you know what'll happen? If enough people don't watch it, it'll go away.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. So my feeling was back then when my family all embraced it and thought it was so awesome that here's Italians that pretty much
what about
act
Jersey
the way
Shore? How'd your family feel about Jersey Shore?
That's a little different. I love the Jersey Shore.
Closer to home.
That's a little closer to home. I love the Jersey Shore though. I love that show. I watch it every week. I can't get enough of it. It's the greatest thing ever, man. These guys are an absolute train wreck, and I can't get enough.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is like, I remember, no lie, going to a wedding, and all my family, that's all we were talking about was The Sopranos and how great the show was and how it reminded us of our families, and I mean minus the mobsters and all that stuff, but like the Sunday dinners and all that stuff, and it's
fiction.
Like, and it's fiction. And the thing is like, so when people, and then we did bring up the conversation, like people being offended, like, what the hell, like why would you get offended by the, and it's the question back and forth, and then it's like, well, just don't watch it, don't, so it's the same thing. Like if I know that it's a situation of like, well, everybody wants everybody wants Smash, so you pull out Game and Watch or you don't, and it's like, it's one of those situations of, well, in this situation, you can't really turn off Smash. You just have to not play it at all. You know what I mean? So it'd be a situation of like, well, you could go like, well, I just won't use Game & Watch. Yeah, but then you play against someone that's Game & Watch and he's using that, and it might bother you. I get that. But I remember watching, this is funny, because I remember watching an interview one time on CNBC. And the WWE was doing some stuff, and Bradshaw was on there, and he was talking to CNBC. He used to be on there every week talking on this one particular show. Mm-hmm. And they said to him, why doesn't the WWE listen to its fans and change the direction of the show? And he goes, what are you talking about? And they're like, you got fans that are tweeting that they want things changed. And he's like, how many people watch Raw on a particular week? And they're like, millions of people.
Yeah.
He's like, that trending hashtag, how many people are trending it?
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, that's a vocal minority. The masses show up at the shows. The masses cheer. The ones that are tweeting are the minority. Mm-hmm. So we changed the show that the majority love because of 20 to 60 to 100,000 people that are tweeting something at one time. And he goes, we don't listen to that. We listen to this.
That makes way too much sense.
And like, ultimately, that's what it boils down to. And that's where I was getting at in the beginning of, like, I feel like Nintendo is going to have to, all video game companies, they're going to start hiring bean counters similar to the car dealerships used to do back in the day, where it was like, hey, we got a bad brake pad. Well, they figure it out and they go like, well, the bad brake pad, you're going to have 50 accidents, it's going to cost this. All right, it's worth it to change the pads. Or no, it's not worth it to change the pads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it becomes one of these things. It's going to be like, hey, we got the Smash game, we spent millions of dollars to make it, and you're going to upset this many people, and that's what I think the future is going to turn into. Because how do you just...
Sure, but then it's the whole Nintendo thing. Like, if you want to be different, if you want to be... I think that Nintendo has this, like, they can take the same model which South Park explores, which is everything is fair game, and the benefit is we're actually not being, like, overtly offensive. In terms of... Like, South Park is trying to piss you off. They're trying to go... Here's something that we're going to say about Mormons, and then we're going to say the same thing, like not the same thing. We're going to upset or point out some things about Christians and the Jewish people and all these things. Like, but they're trying to poke you a little bit. Nintendo can do something similar and just do all the things about all the people, but like look how fun this is, and then it becomes learning about everybody. So I don't know if necessarily.
But the thing of it too is, and this is the way I've always, and maybe I'm wrong. And I don't know. But
I don't know, man. Maybe people could just be absolutely screaming at us right now.
That's possible. But my thing is this. This is the way I've always felt. To me, racism or whatever is based on hate. If you do something and you're not being hateful behind it, is that racism? If you just do something and it's silliness, and you don't realize you're offending people because that's the times. At the time, like in '82, it wasn't a big deal. Nobody cared about it. Nobody said anything about it. So, and I don't feel like in '82, when they created this stuff, they were going like, you know what? We don't like Indians. Let's do this to make them mad at us. They weren't thinking like that. You know what I mean? It was just like, we're just going to put this in. Cowboys and Indians is a thing. Okay. Cowboys use fire, or Indians use fire. This is what we're going to do, and boom, this is a game. Granted, it probably is the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? But it's not like somebody purposely went out to go, we're going to try to hurt a bunch of people. You know, and I think that's where things get a little discombobulated at times with the rationalization of things.
Well, then you get into an area of. And this is why it takes a podcast to do this. This is why you can't do this on Twitter. Yeah. Because I agree with you. I think that there is varying degrees where at one extreme it's racism, where there is hate behind it. There's an element of just before that where it's insensitive. Yeah. Where like maybe you probably shouldn't be saying that or doing that thing or showing the thing, but it's not racist. Yeah. But I think that there's a lot of conflation that happens, and I think now we're kind of talking about other things as well. Yeah. But I think that it is like we're so quick to go like that's the worst thing. Yeah. Treat it like it's the worst thing, and I don't know, man. I get a little numbed out to it after a while.
I do too.
So like then I'm like I don't even know. Like even talking about this topic, it's just like I don't know what's right.
Yeah, I don't know where to draw the lines.
And I don't think anybody does. Yeah. And I think that if everybody was a little bit more honest about like where is the real line, and the fact that nobody really knows. At least we're honest with each other. Yeah. And we can start there instead of just trying to outrighteous one another. And then, because like I said before, at some point, that finger is going to come back and point right at yourself because you've done something or you've eliminated all the other extremes that
Yeah.
wherever you're at, you're going to be the new threshold.
Yeah.
And that's very scary.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, man. How long before, a prime example, it just started happening. But a lot of,
when will Nintendo not be able to have Mario as an Italian character? Like, that's kind of the baseline.
that's what I'm saying. That's where it gets to. Because how long before, how long before Italian Americans or Italians just start going like, that's offensive?
Yeah, I don't know.
And listen, as an Italian, I don't find it offensive at all. At all. I've never once found the character to be hurtful to me in any direction at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I just was like,
Well,
hey, man.
and the voice is just like, can we talk about the Mario? Like,
I mean, yeah.
It's me.
Yeah, it's very, like, yeah, it's very, so the thing.
It's fun. So.
And that's the thing. You have to look at it and go, do you lean into it or not? But, like, I look at it like this. Like, how.
It's different for everyone.
We look at the game sphere, right? And we look at, as an example, what happened to Colin Moriarty, right? And he puts a joke out. Not a good joke. It turns on him, and everybody attacks him and runs him kind of away for a while. Now he's back. One of the people that were overtly doing it was Danny O'Dwyer, and every chance Danny got, he took a shot at Colin. So forth. A couple weeks ago, people started digging through Danny's stuff, and here's some really offensive stuff that he said on Twitter years ago, and they're bringing it up, and they're digging it up, and it's like. So, and that's what I'm keen.
That's another. I don't know where I land on that one.
Well,
Because
no.
I was upset of what happened to James Gunn. I was upset about that.
Yeah.
That ruined him or whatever. They tried to ruin him.
But so that's what I'm. No. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying it's okay what's happening. I'm just using to your point, like how long before that finger comes back and
totally,
that same thing of like you, and all of a sudden people are like, wait a minute, what about you? What did you do in your past? Because I don't think anybody.
It's a glass house, man.
I don't think anybody is innocent of anything. Like, everybody has said things they're not happy with at times. Nobody is perfect. Mm-hmm. We've all done it's the age-old thing of, like, Jesus. When there's the town's going to stone somebody, and he's like, he without sin cast the first stone. Mm-hmm. And it's like, everybody dropped their rocks and walk away. And it's the truth. It's like, we're all guilty of things. May not be as bad as that one, but we're all guilty of something we're not happy about. Yep. So we all have skeletons. But let's bring it back around. So I feel like if we ran Nintendo, I think the answer is you kind of have to do it a case-by-case scenario, obviously. And you need to look at it and go, like, okay, moving forward, we need to talk to our teams and just go, we're not going to be overly offensive. Even if you're not trying to be, which I don't feel that Nintendo is ever trying to be overly offensive in anything they do. Sometimes just things happen and, whatever. This is something that took place in 82, that it wasn't a big deal. I mean, dude, you're coming out of 82, you're not that far removed from All in the Family, which probably goes down as one of the most racist television shows ever, with Archie Bunker, and the Jeffersons and all that stuff. So it's like,
most people don't know what you're talking about.
I know. But go back and do some research, and you'll find out that, like, we've come.
Go look it up in an encyclopedia.
Holy cow, we've come full circle, man. We've come so full circle. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think that you have to, if we ran Nintendo, you need to take it case by case, and you need to talk, because it does lay into kind of what you said too, is like you have these Japanese developers who kind of do some pretty crazy. I mean, look at Fire Emblem Fates with the face painting and all that stuff that they did.
She's your sister, dude.
Yeah. They actually cut that stuff out of the North American version because they looked at it and was like, this is pretty bad. Like, they're going to get highly offended by this stuff. So
it's so strange, man, because they have a very strict culture as well of, like, what is allowed, what isn't allowed, but in a different kind of way.
Different kind of way.
Yeah, Yeah, it's very strange.
It's kind
But
of weird.
it's like it's an honor system, right? But I don't know.
I mean, you think about it. Like every country, there's things that are offensive there that aren't offensive here.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time hearing that, like in I guess it's like Germany and in England and stuff
Like in New Jersey, for example, like body odor isn't offensive. You guys are just totally cool with it. But like most other places,
dude,
body odor.
Why you gotta be like that? Why you gotta be like that?
Cool, man. You just have to understand.
Okay, it's like that, huh? We're gonna go there.
I love you.
No, but it's very similar to, like, you think about it, like when I found out what other television shows in other countries had on television, and I'm like, why are they allowed to be like topless in Europe and we're not? And it's just like, so you look at that and it's like, but there's things that they're not allowed to show that they show here, and it's just this weird line of definition and stuff. And I think right now everybody's trying to rewrite history.
It's just exhausting, man.
And figure it all out. And I think we're in a situation that you just take it case by case. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do we have time for
kind of wish I was wearing my Chicago Blackhawks jersey tonight instead, though.
Well,
is Blackhawks okay? I don't know. There was a problem with the Blackhawks for a while there.
Okay, real quick, I want to jump in this because I kind of had a little bit of a topic or a little bit of a conversation, and I don't know whether you do or not. But if we ran Nintendo, are there any old school gimmick / peripherals that were done back in the 80s / 90s that you think Nintendo should take advantage of today? If so, what are they? So is there anything that you look at and you go like, hey man, this was kind of a gimmicky tech thing that really worked or didn't work so well there, but we're going to retry it again and we think it could work now?
The number one thing, and also I want to say before Brendan Meyer stops listening, if he hasn't already, got your tweet and he just talked to Bobby about your topic. So I'll just say that. He's probably wondering why we haven't done his topic yet. He submitted a topic a little while ago.
He submitted one to me a couple days ago.
It might have been the same one. So, Brandon, I'm very sorry.
It might have been. It might have been. I was going to propose it to you, but I was like,
yep.
I had the conversation with you to kind of break it down because I really didn't understand it until he broke it down for me.
Yep.
So that's why. But go ahead.
Quick shout out to Brandon.
Just stop it. Let's go. Come on. Answer the question. I'm gonna cut this out anyway.
The number one, the easiest answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somebody has got to figure out how to make the light gun work on our new TVs.
True.
Somebody's got to.
Wait a minute. Well, you're talking about the original Zapper.
Well, but like, do it again. But you don't. I don't know if like I know where you're about to go with pointing the Wii remote at the screen.
Well, no. Cabela's just put out like a deer hunting game, and it's a shotgun. And
really?
You put the Joy-Cons. The one Joy-Con goes in the top. That has the AR sensor on it.
Get out of here!
And then the other one, and then the trigger is the button on the Joy-Con, and it looks like a shotgun. And you point it at the TV, and you shoot deer and bears and all that stuff.
Oh, I want more of that.
Man.
Yes, let's keep going, man.
Yeah, man. I saw that. I was like, that looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool.
And
then like with the stick on the trigger one, that's what moves you.
Yeah.
So you use the stick to move around and stuff.
Okay.
And so it's kind of cool.
Okay, I dig it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my second one, I don't know if this is 80s or 90s or early 2000s or whatever, but I want Dance Dance Revolution back, man. I want the dance pads and everything.
You want the dance pads, okay. So you're not okay with just dance.
Not just dance. I don't want to do real dance moves. Like, God, nobody needs that. I want like the big old
We're just kind of like hopscotch.
It actually takes up way too much room. That's not really a thing that I want. But I want to shoot things.
Yeah.
I want to shoot things.
So what
are you thinking?
What I was thinking was this. I remember back in the day where Nintendo actually did an NES television. It was kind of like the VCRs and the built-in TVs. So I kind of thought, why not have you could buy a TV, whatever brand that Nintendo partners up with, and it has a little cartridge slot on the side. Because it's not really that difficult. And then you could basically sell people on just a home version where you just pop the cartridge in, you buy a Pro Controller, maybe the TV comes with a Pro Controller, and that's the only way you play, is to do something like that. Or, because I kind of thought too, like, well, you have like PlayStation Now and all that stuff or whatever, or the Vita TV, that's just basically like a download service. I don't want to go that way, but maybe you can download games as well to the television or whatever. That's what I was thinking. I thought, like, how cool would it be? It would be cool for guys like us that stream, because you just buy the TV, and then you just put the cartridge in and you play. And then, like, you hook your TV to the streaming device and it's done. You wouldn't need to have an extra dock or anything like that. Just something I kind of thought about.
It's funny that you bring up the VCR kind of combo thing. I used to sell TVs back when those were a thing.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, man. VCR and DVD combos and built into the TVs. There's a special customer for those people, dude.
They sold. Well, most of them were kids. Parents that had kids.
Well, they were for the kids. Yeah, it was for the kids' room.
Yeah. They were the babysitters.
Yeah, sometimes you could record from DVD to VCR. I'm looking around my room trying to think. I feel like I'm dropping the ball on this one a little bit.
The other thing, too, that I would like, because now that we're talking, I would like them to revitalize the Power Glove.
No, get out of here.
No.
I was going to bring it up as a thing that you just don't.
I love the Power Glove.
Make it a body glove. Make it a whole body.
You stop. I would think about it, man. Like, if you had, like, they're coming out with that boxing workout thing. Yeah. If you could, like, basically put the glove on and that's your, like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Let's kind of explore this thing a little bit. So when the NES was coming out, Super Nintendo, a lot of, like, kind of bad, poor, like, half-ass jobs of, like, arcade ports. It was essentially like play Street Fighter 2 at home, like play this arcade thing at home, and trying to replicate the arcade experience in your home through, like, fight sticks or things like that was kind of cool. I thought about, like, with Mario Kart having it. So have you ever played the Mario Kart arcade thing?
Like, I want to so bad.
You don't see a lot of the peripherals that are available with other systems or even PC, or, like, what was really popular back in the day on Nintendo systems, which is just, like, trying to have something in your home that made you feel like you were at an arcade. And now we actually have screens in our houses that are way bigger than anything you get in arcades. Yeah. Or at least not back in the day. So, like, something I'm thinking about, like, sitting on, like, a like a motorcycle or something. You just kind of, like, rock it back and forth, or, like, you got, like, skiing games and things like that. That would be kind of neat to have. Maybe we could. They're giant, though, and they're single serving, so it doesn't really work.
Maybe we do, like, a Labo thing, a Labo motorcycle.
Snap. That's the thing.
You sit on it and it crushes.
I know, right? But it's that satisfying crush of the cardboard where you kind of feel, like, fold in on itself. Yeah. Why does that feel so good?
Did you see?
That's a good point, man. Labo's very cool for that.
Yeah. Did you see recently? I don't know whether they have them up where you are, but, like, One Up are doing these arcade cabinets at GameStop.
Yes.
Dude, they're pretty awesome.
They look nice, man.
They do look nice. Little pricey. I mean, they're not that bad. $200 isn't that bad. But still, I'm waiting for them to come out with, like, a Nintendo one. With, like, Donkey Kong and stuff like that. Like, I'm not really a fan. Or even if they came out with, like, Pac-Man, different versions of Pac-Man on it, I would be for it. But
there's so many things, like, back in the day, a lot of peripherals that you just don't even need anymore, though. Like, Game Genie is another thing that I think about that you don't really need too much anymore, but it would be kind of cool to have something that breaks your games for you. Or the multi-tap was a thing, like,
multi-tap,
or the things that, like, make things wireless now. Like, a lot of it was just trying to advance technology further along. You don't really need that. Like, so much of the stuff is things we have, like the pointing of the Joy-Con is something that's just kind of, like, built in. It's crazy how, like, that one thing is much smaller and much more versatile than the Zapper. But
I agree.
I still kind of want that dedicated thing. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but what I would like to do is, tweet at us, leave a comment or whatever.
Yeah, man.
What are you thinking? What is something that you wish would come back? A peripheral of some sorts. Let us know in the comments.
I want red and blue glasses. I want the 3D glasses, the red and blue, little tinted. Do you remember? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Just stop.
Do that.
Stop.
Okay. Well.
So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Nintendo Talk.
Nope.
If we were in Nintendo. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of If You Were in Nintendo. You can check Sean out over on the Twitters. Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Check me out at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.